We're so glad you've joined us on the ERLC Podcast to explore how the Bible addresses important cultural issues pertaining to life, religious liberty, marriage and family, and human dignity, and how we can walk in wisdom for God's glory and for the flourishing of our neighbors. If you're enjoying this podcast and find it helpful, please leave a review wherever you listen. This will help more people find and benefit from what we're learning together. We are grateful for the time you take to join us for these conversations.
You're listening to the ERLC Podcast.
It's kind of a flat ending, I gotta say.
Yeah.
But there will be music.
There's the Megacast.
No. There it is, the Megacast. Wah, 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 wah.
Yes.
I mean, that's it? Like, that's all we get?
Well, what do y'all want to do?
We should sign off together. Like, Jeff, you should say, well, thanks, guys, for participating in the Megacast.
We should sign
Merry
off
Christmas,
by
everyone.
singing, "We wish you a Merry Christmas."
We should not do that.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. Yeah, no.
Hello, and welcome back to this week's episode of the ERLC Podcast. If you listened to the podcast last week, you heard that we were going to do something very special and different this week for the episode, and we did. We were joined by all of our ERLC Podcast colleagues, and for what Jeff Pickering called the ERLC Megacast. And we had so much fun putting together this episode where we just reflected on the year and then a bunch of Christmas traditions, talked about the things that we are looking forward to, looking back on, and it was just a really fun conversation with various people from the ERLC. We are excited to share this conversation with you, and we really do hope, from Brent and Lindsay and myself, we really do hope that you are having a very Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and we look forward to seeing you again at the first of the year.
Welcome to this 2020 wrap-up ERLC Megacast episode. It's a crossover. Everybody's here. You can't see it, but Travis is currently dancing. Josh?
Hey, Jeff. Thanks. Welcome.
Hey.
Good to join you on the Megacast. So for those who don't know, we've been doing so many Zoom calls since quarantine started back in March that we have gotten some really great Zoom moves, but no one can top Travis's like upper body dances that we get to just sneak peek sometimes.
It's just a way of conveying emotion and happiness while staying muted.
Something like
You're
that.
already breaking your 10-second rule, Josh. We got to move on to the next person.
And if you missed it, Lindsay's here with us too. Say hello.
Yes. Hi, I'm Lindsay. I'm a part of the ERLC podcast team, and I don't really know why I'm here except to keep some of these people in line, and I got a calendar invite. So I just clicked the link.
Well, hey, faithful listeners to the ERLC Podcast. It's Brent wishing you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and I hope that you enjoy this Squadcast. There, I said it, Jeff.
Brent has been waiting to say Squadcast for weeks, ever since Jeff pitched this idea. Also with us on the podcast is the host of WeeklyTech, Jason Thacker.
Yeah, it's me, Jason Thacker from WeeklyTech. This is fun for me because I don't get to do Zoom calls with you guys like this. So
That's true. You just you record mono. It's not mono. It's just mono.
It's just mono. It's just
a very solitary podcast.
hey, we have conversations now. Okay,
That's true. And one more
Save the best for last.
colleague, saving the best for last.
coming to you from her very fashionable closet.
From my closet in DC, Chelsea Sobolik with the DC-based podcast.
Is that
3
cheetah
out of the
print
7 voices here
the-
are in our prayer closets to record this episode.
It is.
Is that
cheetah
cheetah
print.
print in the background?
is.
That's cheetah
It
print.
is.
All right, so we've been wanting to do this Megacast because we thought it'd be a great way to wrap up a year that really, I think, I don't think any of us are going to be sad to say bye to 2020. And I think all of our listeners probably agree. But we're going to go through here and we're going to talk through some highlights. We're going to talk through some favorites. And then we're going to do a Christmas lightning round at the end. We thought this would be a fun way to mark the Christmas season, the most wonderful time of a very difficult year, but also mark what we've learned this year, how we've grown in the Lord this year, and how we here at the ERLC have been able to serve you. So I think how this is going to work, and again, we didn't we didn't have a dress rehearsal. There was no table read for this megacast. We're just going to see what happens with our colleagues that are our friends. And so I think, Josh, you and I are going to kind of co-captain this thing through. So let's get started here with the highlights.
Yeah, man, let's bring it on. So your first question, and by the way, if this is just going to be a real treat for listeners, the frenemy relationship that Jeff and I have hosting this year-end podcast together. Travis, we're going to start with you. Like, what are the most important? We're thinking big picture. What are the most important news stories from 2020? What springs top of mind for you?
Well, 2020 was an election year. So, I mean, I think it would be tempting to sort of look there first. There's a lot going on in terms of coronavirus and everything else. But the story that I wanted to highlight here is something that is happening on the other side of the world, and that is really the fall of democracy in Hong Kong. This is something we've talked a lot about on Capital Conversations, and we've got a lot of resources on our website about this. But amidst everything that has been happening in our world, in Hong Kong right now, you have Democratic, or I should say pro-democratic, members of the Legislative Council being disqualified. You have members of the media that are currently sitting in jail. It is a really dire situation in Hong Kong. We have many friends and brothers and sisters in Christ over there who are really wondering what their future is going to look like. And so, I think in terms of the geopolitical stuff that we're working on, I think that's it'd be tough to pick any story. There's just so much that's happened this year, but I think a story that has flown a little bit under the radar, but that has seismic implications for the future of the U.S. and Western relationship with China is what's going on in Hong Kong.
I'll give that a retweet. I definitely think the fall of Hong Kong is one of the most important news stories of 2020. But I'm curious, what else do y'all think? Brent, what about you? As you read widely every day, it feels like when I pull up Slack first thing in the morning, you've already shared a couple of news stories. So I'm sure you've got a lot percolating. What do you think is the most important news story of 2020?
Yeah, I would say, to touch a little bit on what Travis mentioned, is just the rampant levels of distrust within society. Obviously, we saw this come up within the 2020 election, but it just seems everywhere. And it didn't subside just because we have an election result. It's continuing. And it's not just here in America. We're seeing it in other countries and honestly across platforms in the technological world and digital world. And that's just crazy to me. And I guess at the same time, though, we've still been able to accomplish some really amazing things. I mean, this vaccine production and distribution has been an incredible achievement in the midst of all this fracturing that we're seeing across society.
Just to add one quick thing on the distrust, I mean, I think we've now had another presidential election where public polling was so far off. And I don't know if you guys feel the same way. I mean, so much of our news is, X% of Americans agree or disagree with this. I mean, I think one of the challenges that 2020 presents to us moving forward is we don't even know what to trust about how people think, what are American attitudes like on particular issues. So, I mean, I agree with you, Brent. I think the distrust in our institutions, distrust in media is definitely one of the big stories this year, and I think is going to present a real challenge moving forward.
Now that's really good from both of you guys. And Jason, since you know all things tech, like what are we not thinking about in terms of big stories from the year on the tech front?
Yeah, I think in 2020, a lot of us are starting to wake up to the influence of technology in our lives. So many of us who have been fortunate to be able to work remote are doing a lot of Zoom calls and a lot of digital connections. And so we're seeing that influence, but we're also seeing it through social media and a breakdown of civil trust and our institutions and the nature of truth. But then we're even seeing it on the international front to kind of piggyback off of the things happening overseas in Hong Kong and China, even in Russia and Iran and Belarus. We're seeing this increasing role of technology in our lives. And I think in some ways, 2020 was a good wake up to the influence and the role of technology in our lives and something that we need to think deeply about. And that's what we try to do on WeeklyTech.
That's really good.
All right. So, Lindsay, I want to come to you next as we are thinking about the ways that ERLC has served our churches, our convention, and served the broader country in a really difficult year. It's kind of one of those. I was just asked by a friend, like, how's work been this year? And I said, well, it's it's funny here at the end of December thinking about January and all the plans we had for the year and how pretty much none of them materialized, but we still did a lot of really meaningful work. So I'm curious, as you're someone who has your eye on all of the resources that are coming out at ERLC.com, what do you think is the most meaningful ERLC resource from the year that you'd like to recommend folks check out?
Yeah, well, first of all, I have to say we'd be remiss if top 2020 news stories, we didn't say the word coronavirus because,
Yeah, that's true.
It overtook 2020.
It was a bit of a big story throughout the year, wasn't it?
Just a little bit. But so a really important resource that, as we're recording, has not been released yet, but should drop by the end of the year is an issue of Light Magazine that the comms team has been working on. And Light Magazine is our biannual magazine. So we do 2 issues a year. This issue for the winter season, again, the comms team has been working on it, but with shout outs to Jen Kittner and Travis Wussow for their invaluable work on this issue. And it's titled Hidden in Plain Sight, a call to bring hope and help to victims of abuse. And this issue highlights the work that many have been doing regarding exposing the evils of abuse that take place in our society, but in our churches. And it highlights the work that churches are called to press on in doing. We're going to hear testimonies from some brave men and women who have shared their stories in order to help other people. We're going to get practical tips from experts on how to protect our children, how to protect our churches, and we're going to read some material from Becoming a Church That Cares Well for the Abused curriculum in order to make our churches safe from abuse and safe for victims.
That's really good, Lindsay. And that work is probably one of the most important things the ERLC has been involved in many, many years. Speaking of great resources that the ERLC put out this year, Chelsea, what comes to mind for you?
Yeah, so one of the resources that has just really stuck with me since I viewed it is the Pearl Brown documentary that the team pulled together. It's about a 20-minute documentary on the story of Pearl Brown when her parents found out that her brain was not properly formed, and they made the decision to choose life for her. Even though her life on Earth was short, they got to love her, and the documentary is incredibly powerful as it highlights the importance of each life having dignity and value and worth. And again, it's on our website. It's about 20 minutes. It really has stuck with me, and I've thought about it often. So I would point our listeners to that documentary.
And that documentary is definitely worth checking out if you haven't. It's just an incredible story of Pearl Brown and her family. And her family is actually from my hometown in Rocky Mount in Eastern North Carolina. So just throw that out there any chance I get. Okay, so thinking about 2020, it's a year, we've said it many, many times, that we can't wait for it to be over. But before we move on entirely, what are some things that we're grateful for? Jeff, we'll start with you. Like, what are you grateful for in this terrible year?
So, Josh, I want to answer the grateful question, but first, I do want to highlight one more resource that was super meaningful to me this fall, and it represents our work here in Washington in a way that I think the other 2 resources, which are just absolutely fantastic, that Chelsea and Lindsay highlighted, represent our work serving our churches kind of all throughout the nation, and that is Dr. Moore's newsletter, More to the Point, specifically the newsletter he sent on November 16th, titled the lead article was titled "Looking for Truth in Post-Election America." And there was some conversation earlier on. Brent mentioned and Travis spoke to it as well. Just the lack of social cohesion, the lack of public trust, and I think what Dr. Moore did a really great job of in the immediate aftermath of the election was really pointing out how it's not just a matter of the political horse race, who won where and why. There was truly a sense of, well, there were a lot of politicians recognizing who won the presidential election, but then not saying it publicly for a long time. that is not good. It is not good for our country, for the future of public policy conversations that we're having, and we're still in the middle of that here at the end of December in many ways. And here, let me just read this sentence, and then I'll move on to what I'm grateful for. Again, this is from Looking for Truth in a Post-Election America from our president Russell Moore's newsletter. Quote, "Our problem now, though, is that increasingly we are called not just to argue about what is true, but to say things that we know to be false, just to prove that we are part of the tribe to which we belong." The reason I think that's so important, not only for politics and the state of our democratic republic, but it's also important for the big conversations that we have, like conversations over gender as well. I mean, you see this on the right, maybe with politics right now, that we say things that we might know to be false, but I think you see it on the left with moral relativism and people saying things that they know to be false, just to, again, prove that they're part of the tribe on that side. So this is, I think, a big topic of Christian responsibility in the public square moving forward, and I really wanted to highlight that resource. In terms of what I'm grateful for, I'll be brief here. I am grateful for my local church. I'm a member at Capitol Hill Baptist Church in Washington, D.C. There are a lot of things about my church that are unique and quirky. And I think,
that's understating it a bit, Jeff.
That's understating it. We are probably in the top 5 unique churches in the United States of America. But what I've so appreciated is we've been able to gather outside, even at times under a pavilion while it rains, and just being with our church family in the ways that we can to stay safe, but to still, even just for 60 minutes on a Sunday afternoon in a field, has been incredibly grounding and meaningful. And in a lot of ways, you don't know how precious those bits of God's grace in your life are until they're gone. And we lost them this year. So yeah, that's something that I am immensely grateful for, is my local church. Travis, what about you?
Yeah, so this has been a tough year for everybody who has small kids. Our kids go to school in DC. Our school has been closed since March. We've been doing virtual learning, such as it is, since then. But I think one of the things that I'm really grateful for looking back on this year is how this year has brought our family closer together, and how it has really strengthened my relationship with my kids at a time when ordinarily they would begin asserting some independence from us. My 2 girls are in 4th and 2nd grade. And, the independence is coming. I mean, they're, my oldest is on the verge of being a tween. So pray for us. But
she's been on the verge of that for many years, though.
That's true. That's true. But, I have to say, as hard as it's been to have, 2 working parents and 2 learning kids inside our, little condo in Northwest DC, I am so grateful for, the moments that I've gotten to have with them. And I was telling Katie the other day, I had gone into the office to work there, and after a full day, I just realized how much I missed being around them, just like their little interruptions and, just little cute stuff. So, I think this year has given me a new gratitude for what we have. Our kids are just awesome, and I'm really grateful for them.
Man, that's really beautiful, Travis. And before we move on from this, Jason, what is something you're grateful for this year?
Yeah, some listeners may or may not know, 2020 has been an extra interesting year for our family, just because of cancer diagnosis and a lot of chemo and a lot of medical issues in the family. And so to kind of echo what Travis was saying too, 2020 has been one of the years that's been one of the most difficult, not only professionally and also personally, but in terms of our family. It's been a really sweet time, really being able to grow up in many ways and watch my kids grow up right in front of me, where I was out of the office, I was downtown, and being able to be at home and do those things with them and kind of have those moments. It's just a reminder of God's grace and his sustaining presence, even in the midst of an extremely difficult and divisive years, to know that God's plans aren't thwarted. God's plan, he wasn't caught off guard by 2020 as many of us were. And so I think that's just a good reminder in the midst of a really hectic year that our God is still good and our God is still reigning. He's on his throne, and none of this caught him by surprise.
That is a really good word, Jason.
This episode of the ERLC Podcast was sponsored by the Good Book Company, publisher of Searching for Christmas by J.D. Greer. Meet the awesome God at the heart of the familiar Christmas story. This book is perfect for giving to unbelieving friends and family this Christmas. Find out more at thegoodbook.com.
All right, now we're going to move into a section where we talk about our favorite things from this year. So we're going to talk books, TV shows, maybe even get into a little bit of journalists that people should be following. So let's start off here at the top with books. And let me just say this for everybody here on the Megacast. Jump in. If you like that somebody, if you agree that a book was great, say that. If you think their TV show is terrible, say that too. Let's see if we can get some sparks flying. That's always interesting for listeners. So let's get started out here. What book, Brent, I know you want to answer this one, so I'll start it with you, but then feel free anybody else to jump in. What book, Brent, did you read this year that impacted you the most?
Well, this kind of goes along with, the thing that I'm seeing across society, that distrust that's out there. And for me, far and away, the best book of 2020 was Yuval Levin's A Time to Build. I just thought, gosh, what a book that landed exactly at the right time that it was needed to speak into much of that fracture that we're seeing across society. And I think the subhead actually captures why I think it's so great. From family and community to Congress and the campus, how recommitting to our institutions can revive the American dream. I think institutional life can play such an important role in restoring trust across our society. And I mean, Josh and Lindsay know this on our podcast. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Anytime Yuval Levin writes something, you need to read it because it is incredibly helpful and insightful, I think, for the times that we live in.
I'll retweet that. That was an excellent book this year.
Recent guest on Capital Conversations podcast.
Yes. It was great. Jeff, to jump in, I have two books I want to highlight, and one will be no surprise to anyone who has read a top 10 book list in the Christian world, but that book is Gentle and Lowly, and it really is worth being on everyone's top 10 list. It really ministered to my heart a lot this year. And then another book, it does not...
On Gentle and Lowly, I was going to buy it for everybody in my family this year, and it's out of stock.
Is it sold out? It's
good. Out of stock on Amazon, on Crossway. It's out of stock everywhere. It was like at one Barnes & Noble that was an hour and a half for me, and I decided I couldn't do it. But yes, incredible book. What's the second one?
The second one is a book called A Hobbit, a Wardrobe, and a Great War by Joseph LeConte. I think I'm saying his last name correctly, but it is about the life of C.S. Lewis and the cultural influences, obviously, of the war on his life and how you see that show up in his writing. And it was just, I listened to it, but it was just absolutely delightful. And I really, really enjoyed that one.
I love that. It looks like everybody's going to answer here. So let's go to you, Lindsay, next.
Well, I was just going to say, I'm going to speak up for all the regulars here on the podcast, make them feel right at home. Well, actually, let me just say, I bought Gentle and Lowly for my husband, but actually it probably was so that I could read it. So I put it in a stocking and figured that make a good stocking stuffer. You know what? I've just been over here immersed in spy novels because I don't have brain power for much currently. So I've been reading Daniel Silva novels, spy novels. I think I'm on number 8. There's like 21. And I
awesome.
feel like I'm in good company because Dan Darling, the infamous Dan Darling, Marvin Olasky, and Albert Mohler all enjoy them. So,
So you just need a sweater vest too, and then the four of y'all could be the modern day Inklings with your spy novels and sweater vests.
Mm-hmm.
A fun spy novel to add to your list is a book called Spies of No Country that tells the story of Mossad before it really was Mossad, written by one of my good friends and also past Capital Conversations guest, Mati Friedman. So Mati Friedman, Spies of No Country, it's a great book. And it's,
Man,
it's a spy novel.
I'm loving all of the episode plugs that Travis is getting in here. Hello, it looks like we have a new director of marketing. Jason, let's come to you next, and then Josh, you can round us out with your favorite book.
Yeah, I'm going to shift gears a little bit from some newer books to a really old book, actually, that came out in the 1960s, of all things on technology. I know I hosted a WeeklyTech podcast, so I talk about technology all the time, and Josh makes fun of me all the time for it. But it's a book called The Technological Society by a French philosopher named Jacques Ellul. And that might sound super boring. It seems like maybe a book from the 50s and 60s would have nothing to say about a lot of the modern technology and the debates that we're having over the breakdown of civil discourse and public trust and the ways that technology is changing us. But in 1964, he's writing, and it's just incredible. These old books on technology have so much to teach us today. And I have to warn listeners that it is a fairly dense book. And it's also, if you get the paperback edition, it's actually pretty difficult to read because the text is so small. But if you can find an old hardback copy, it is an incredible work. And it's going to take a long time to get through it, and that's okay. But he really starts to peel back. And some of the things he's saying in 1960, you're like, he's actually talking about Twitter and the internet and those things. But he's not. He's just talking about technology, even in the 1950s, and the way that it's shaping and changing us.
All right, Josh, what about you? Finish us off here.
Yeah,
what book
I just
impacted you the most this year? What was the impact of the books that you read this year on your soul? Like how much did it impact you?
Yeah, thanks for that. So several things all at once. Number one, impact is a noun, not a verb. Two, Jason, I love your setup for this is a big old book, and I know it might sound boring, but it's going to take you a long time to read it because it's boring, but that's okay.
Don't get the paperback version because the font is too small.
Well, and it's a really old book from the 1960s.
Right.
I didn't want to tease him too much.
Y'all are really good at selling.
And then, and also, I didn't know we retweet on podcasts, but I will go ahead and retweet the Gentle and Lowly recommendation. It was the book that made my best things of the year list. And look, my favorite book this year, it's kind of hard to choose, but my favorite book this year was another book on politics. It came out, I think, earlier in the year, maybe in the spring, by David Van Drunen, and it's called Politics After Christendom, and it is a really, really helpful look at both political philosophy and also some of the practical issues about politics from not just a Christian perspective, but like a very solidly grounded theological perspective on these issues. And so if you are looking for a good read on politics and Christianity, Politics After Christendom is where you should go.
Yeah, that book really impacted me as well. It's a really good one. I'll retweet that one.
Nice. It left an indelible impression on me.
I retweeted a lot of you. Sorry, go ahead, Travis.
Well, I was going to say I didn't get to share my book. I just was offering an additional spy novel for Lindsay. True. But and I must confess, I'm not quite done with this yet. But the new biography on James Baker, I'm knee deep in it right now, and it is fantastic. Very similar. I mean, it's and I think part of my takeaways is similar to what we were talking about earlier with Yuval Levin. I mean, Baker is just a classic institutionalist, and so seeing the way that he operated, seeing the way that he made things happen in DC is it's a fantastic book. And I should say, I am a proud Texan, but I learned a ton about the history of Houston that's in that book as well. It's a fantastic read.
Brent was telling me just yesterday to buy that book.
Yeah, we've talked about it on the ERLC podcast like 3 weeks in a row.
Absolutely. And I just want to say, so I think we've spent a substantial portion of this podcast talking about our favorite books, and that makes me want to amend my comment about what this should be called. It shouldn't be called Squadcast. This should be called Nerdfest. So yeah, there you go.
So true.
All right. Well, to get us out of Nerdfest, let's move on to favorite podcasts, because everybody can enjoy podcasts, because everybody can listen to something and enjoy bite-sized news or deeper dive news. It kind of depends on which way you go with a podcast. So I'm curious if everybody here has a favorite podcast, maybe just a couple, speed things along. Brent, coming to you first. What podcast are you most enjoying these days?
Jonah Goldberg's The Remnant. If you appreciate both intellectual curiosity and irreverent humor.
Chelsea, looks like you had your hand raised. Podcast.
Oh, I was fist pumping what Brent had said, but I'm going to do a repeat of what I said last year because I'm still enjoying the Office Ladies podcast. It's just wonderful. So great.
It's funny. Well, I'm over here in the shallow end once again, and I really love the Crime Junkies podcast. There's something about true crime.
Is it called the Crime Junkies Podcast?
And Lindsay's.
I should have joined the CIA or something. Just called me Sydney Bristow, but
spy novels, crime.
Yeah. So
hey,
anyway,
that's not the shallow end. I mean, Jonah Goldberg will go on for 30 minutes about volcano lancing technology from space. So
he had an entire his election week episode was just about canine biology and DNA of dogs because he's a big dog guy. I'll throw out the Jamie Weinstein Show is an excellent podcast, mainly because it's just a long form interview, and I've learned a lot about how to interview folks from him. I mean, the preparation that he brings to every interview is just amazing. So, and he tries to interview everybody across the political spectrum in DC, and it's always a fascinating conversation.
Well, I'm going to be true to form here and talk
the WeeklyTech Podcast. There you go. That's the recommendation.
No, definitely not going to self-promote like that. But there's a new podcast called In Machines We Trust from Technology Review, and they talk about a host of different technologies and kind of how we become in many ways dependent on these technologies and the way that they're kind of impacting issues of facial recognition and policing and surveillance, all the way down to AI ethics and different things. It's a really, really fascinating podcast and extremely well done.
Yeah, I was just giving Jason a hard time there about his podcast, but for real, you should check it out, especially if you are a Christian who's interested in issues of technology. Jason with his new podcast that does covers all things tech and a lot of like great interviews. It's definitely worth your time. One more to recommend to you would be if you are a political nerd or if you are curious about maybe like some legal history, and maybe that's no one listening to the podcast, but there's a podcast that Radiolab did that is just excellent called More Perfect. I don't know if you guys have talked about it on the Capital Conversations podcast before.
It's a great
but
podcast.
It is so well done. And you learn about the history of these like landmark Supreme Court rulings, many of which you probably never have heard of before, but it is certainly worth checking out. Okay, so moving on from podcasts, there's some good recommendations. We're going to talk about, most of us, again, politics nerds, political junkies. We get a lot of morning newsletters with news and culture rundown. So who has a favorite newsletter? Jeff, we'll kick it back to you. What's your favorite?
Well, you set me up, and now I'm gonna sound silly because it's not politics, it's not government, it's not policy related, but it is from Axios, and that is Axios Sports newsletter. I have learned so much about not only what's happening in different sports leagues throughout the year as COVID changed everything. So bite-sized news up at the top, really smart writing by Kendall Baker. But also he usually has some sports history down at the bottom of his newsletter. So it's a nice reprieve in my inbox from the TikTok of Washington, D.C. So that's Axios Sports. I'm a big fan of all of Axios' newsletters, but I always find time to read Axios Sports newsletter.
And speaking of Axios, we have had Bethany Allen Ibrahimian, who writes the China newsletter, on our podcast.
Man. Sounds like
people are going to think I'm paying y'all to market the Capital Conversations podcast here on the Megacast. But yeah, that's another good one. Travis, newsletter recommendation. What do you got?
For me, it's easy. It's Jonah Goldberg's Friday G-File. I look forward to it every week. It's the way that I finish my week. I sit and my wife can tell when I'm reading it because I get in a cozy chair and I just sit and howl in laughter for 30 minutes as I enjoy every sentence of that newsletter. It's the best coda for the week possible.
If you don't know us personally, but would like to have an image of Travis reading the G-File, I would just look up Ron Swanson's laugh. And that's kind of what I imagine Travis doing as he's reading the G-File. Jason, do you have a newsletter to recommend?
Yeah, there's one that I subscribed to earlier this year called The Economist Espresso. It's their morning newsletter that they come out. And for me, it's this bite-sized, like 2 or 3 sentences about an event that's going on. And it helped me to get a broader perspective on the entire world. Because I think often in the West, we think about Western developments and Western news, which are important, but we often forget that we have brothers and sisters and there are human beings across the world who are dealing with very different situations. And so that little newsletter has been really, really helpful for me just to kind of get an overview of some of the bigger things and get it from an outside of a U.S. perspective of some of the things that even happening in the United States. And so it's been a really, really helpful. It's the Economist Espresso.
I love that.
As 2020 comes to a close, we're thankful for the role we've been able to play in your lives. We're thankful that we get to assist churches by helping them apply the gospel to moral and ethical questions of the Christian life, and by speaking from our churches as a witness to the public square. This podcast is one of the many ways we do this. If you've benefited from the content shared on this podcast, would you please consider making a year-end donation? We're supported by the cooperative program of the Southern Baptist Convention, but any individual donations we receive apart from that goes to placing ultrasound machines in pro-life pregnancy centers and advocating for religious liberty and human dignity here at home and across the globe. Please consider making a year-end donation at erlc.com/donate.
All right, and now we're going to round out this megacast with a Christmas time lightning round. This is the most wonderful time of the year. Again, this is a year in 2020 that I think I have, in some ways, the whole year has been like Advent, waiting for this most wonderful time of the year, and then for the year to be over and to start 2021. So I thought it'd be fun here for us as colleagues to have the kind of banter that turns coworkers into friends here at the end as we talk about Christmas time. So we're going to do a lightning round. We've got an order here. Everyone is going to answer every one of these questions. It's a little bit of this and that, a little bit of, hey, what was Christmas like in your home growing up, in your family? So everybody's going to answer. Let's give short answers, no qualifications. The only thing that we'll have time for here in the Christmas lightning round is laughter in case the Christmas tradition that you mentioned, you're on an island or something like that. So that'll be fun. So without further ado, let's get into the Christmas lightning round. First question, fake tree or real tree?
Definitely fake for our family. We have 2 kids under 4. I'm not cleaning that mess up.
Real.
Real, for sure.
Definitely fake.
Real.
Fake.
Wow, real. We're kind of split right down the middle.
Wow.
That's amazing, just like America.
Mr. Christmas, Brent Leatherwood went with the fake tree.
Yeah, that was kind of surprising to me, Brent. I
Well,
figured you'd be out chopping down your own
Well,
tree.
it's just because we have 3 of them. And so just artificial trees help.
But 3
That's a
Christmas
flex
that
right
many
there.
That is a flex.
Huge flex.
All right, so let's talk outside lights. Are they clear or are they colorful?
The lights on the outside of our house right now are clear, and that's just 1, because of what we had, and 2, we do like the simple and kind of classy Christmas.
Those are qualifiers.
Those are
Yeah,
qualifiers.
those are a lot of qualifiers.
Very heavily qualified.
Chelsea, clear or colorful?
Clear.
For us, it's clear, but we've lived in apartments and condos for the last 5 years, so we don't have an outside. My kids keep asking, when are we going to live in a down house, by which they mean a house on the ground floor that actually touches the ground.
Hey, that's a qualifier.
I did qualify. Sorry.
Clear.
It's so hard not to qualify. Clear.
His blood is cleansed me white as snow, and so therefore we choose clear
Jesus,
lights.
dude.
There's Jesus. All right, well,
You just broke my Christian ankles.
we do clear lights, but Brent is especially going to love this next question. Staying outside, do you have inflatables or a manger as decorations, or neither?
We just have clear lights outside the house, so we don't have any inflatables, even though my kids want them desperately right now.
Neither would have sufficed. Sean Connery.
We live in an apartment, so neither.
Neither.
And
Don't
no
have a yard.
lights for the record. Yeah.
Haven't had a yard in 5 years, neither.
Just candles in the windows.
It's classy.
Yeah. Have a yard. Neither.
Brent, do you guys have anything?
No, neither. We don't want to have to deal with finding a stolen baby Jesus.
I'm at my parents' house for right now for Christmas, and they just put up a manger. All right. So next question: what is your favorite Christmas song?
I wish I had a good one, but the only one that comes to mind is my kid has been singing Jingle Bells nonstop, so I'll just run with that one.
All right.
So many, but I think my favorite is "Oh Holy Night."
Oh Holy Night, but I think I might have said this last year, but I also really, it's not Christmas for me unless I've listened to Sufjan Stevens' version of "O Come Thou Fount."
I'll just go with Silver Bells.
Oh, my word.
Silver Bells?
And Jingle Bells? Okay.
Yikes.
God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen.
That's good.
Okay. Old school.
I'm going with I Heard the Bells on Christmas Day. I love that song.
Well, I was inspired by everyone, so I'm going to qualify mine and now say the Trans-Siberian Orchestra Christmas. It is just pretty amazing.
Wow, the whole album. Nice.
The whole album.
thing.
I'm going to say "O Come All Ye Faithful" by Johnny Swim. Their version is incredible. All right, sticking with Christmas music, which song is worse, The Christmas Shoes or Mary Did You Know?
I think Mary had,
Mary had a little lamb.
She had a little lamb.
Well, he is the lamb of the world.
He did.
Whoa.
Mary had a little lamb. How about that?
I was going to say Mary Did You Know is not as bad of a song as everyone likes to make it out to be.
All right, so your Christmas Shoes. You think that one's...
Why not?
All right.
1,000,000% Christmas shoes.
Yeah, I agree with Jason. Christmas shoes.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I'll just make it unanimous.
I like them both. So I
No,
want to buy
no.
these shoes
Lindsay.
for my mama,
Lindsay, do you really like those
please.
songs?
It wouldn't be
Yes,
an ERLC
I really
podcast if she
do.
didn't sing.
Have you seen the
Oh
movie?
my, oh my goodness.
No, I haven't seen the movie, but
There's a movie?
yes, with Rob Lowe. Listen, if
Oh
you
my
need a
gosh.
good cry, you just listen to that song and feel it deep in your soul.
There's enough to cry about this year without listening to Christmas Shoes. Brent, what about you? Which one do you think is worse?
I'm fully never Christmas shoes.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and make that unanimous. All right, let's speed this up a little bit. Snow, do you love it or hate it?
Love it.
I don't know. Depends.
Love it.
Unbelievable.
Love it.
Only
I'll go
people
on
that
and answer
haven't.
for Brent. He definitely loves snow.
Only people that haven't had to shovel snow persistently love snow. I love the look of it. not
Lindsay,
the
you lived in
shoveling.
Florida and then moved to the Great White North. That's your problem. And I don't mean
Yeah.
Tennessee. I mean, like, where was it? Michigan? Minnesota?
Michigan,
Yeah, where
Yep.
it snows from like October to May.
lots of snow.
Brent, love it or hate it?
I mean, for me, snow is from the devil.
Do we even
I
know,
mean,
Brent?
Yeah, I mean, if it's not 90 degrees, something's wrong. So,
Yeah, I'm going to hard disagree. I love snow. I love it a lot. It is so much fun. And speaking of fun, favorite Christmas movie?
Jason, you're
These are
first.
so hard.
You've been first this whole time.
Yeah, Jason,
I'm
I
going
might
to go
have
for
to take
Elf.
you out
I
of
was
the
thinking
driver's
there
seat.
for a second. I'm going to say Elf. My boys are starting to like it, and Dory and I always love to get a good laugh out of it.
The Holiday is my favorite.
Die Hard, no doubt.
Oh, yes.
Boo.
Die Hard. Definitely a Christmas movie.
Boo.
We're
I'm
watching
going to
it. We're
answer
watching it
again for
tonight.
Brent and say
No more answers, Jason.
And it's
No,
and
I was
you
going to answer for
No,
Brent. He
you
loves the Hallmark movies.
you
Those are
jump
his
in
favorite,
for
all of
Brent,
them.
but it's not Brent's turn. It's my turn, and then Brent.
Yeah, go for it, Lindsay. What's your favorite Christmas movie?
I can't. It's so hard. I can't not qualify. So I have to name a couple. Okay, just real quick. We just finished the other two Die Hard movies, and those are really fun. Also set during Christmas. And then A Boyfriend for Christmas. That used to be my dream, and now it's come true.
Aw.
I've never heard of that movie.
It's Hallmark. It's totally cheesy, and I love it.
favorite Christmas movie is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation,
Solid
which
choice.
I have
Yes.
a
Also
tradition
excellent.
of watching on Thanksgiving night each year.
Excellent. I'm going to go with The Santa Claus, Tim Allen.
Also great.
Love that movie.
Great movie.
All right, here. What is your favorite Christmas dessert? And we can expand dessert to be, just Christmas sweet. So like a sweet thing that you eat doesn't have to be at the end of the meal. But favorite Christmas dessert or Christmas sweet?
I'll say that my mother makes this really great chocolate fudge, and I always dream about it at Christmas because she made it every year.
I like anything peppermint, but I'm not a big dessert person. Like I could pass on dessert, but I like peppermint.
It's going to be my
I
mom's
was wrong
chocolate
twice,
meringue pie.
Chelsea.
Nice. I'm just going to say a New York strip, which is not a dessert, but we don't do dessert. We just eat steak, and it's great.
Nice.
Let's go with puppy chow because I just made some, and it's good.
That's like human food.
Yeah.
What kind of trash do you like, Brent?
Well, it used to be my mama's Coca-Cola salad, but Y'all probably don't know what that is.
Oh, that sounds disgusting.
We're going to need a qualification for that one. We can bend the rules. Your Mammons Coca-Cola salad.
Yes, well, since she passed away and went to meet Jesus, there's nobody can actually make it like she did. So, but instead, my parents have kept on the tradition of meeting her chocolate pie, which is easily my favorite thing to eat at Christmas.
Wait, what's in the Coca-Cola
Hold on,
salad?
but we need to know what's in the Coca-Cola salad.
Oh, it's like a cranberry salad, but with Coca-Cola in it. It's fabulous. It's one of the best things ever put in my mouth.
Doesn't it get flat? Or do you just like top it off with each new bowl?
No, because there's like a Jell-O consistency that holds it together. I mean, honestly, I can't even describe it. It's just so good.
Yeah, it's not getting better.
Yeah, it sounds really delicious. Be sure and send it. We'll put the recipe in the show notes.
My favorite Christmas dessert is a tradition my mom started. I don't even know when, but she makes agape trash is what it's called. And it is like pretzels and Chex and peanut M&Ms, all with this white chocolate glaze. It is amazing. I made it with her for the first time this year.
Is that your mom's way of sanctifying the trash? Calling it
so.
agape?
I guess so. Yeah, agape trash. Agape trash. All right, here's the final question, folks. Because we've all been at home all year in 2020, I know we are all itching to get out, get traveling again, jump on an airplane, maybe take a longer road trip. So if you could travel anywhere in the world at Christmas time, bringing your family with you, of course, because being together with family is the best part of Christmas. So this is McAllister style, right? They were able to pay for their whole family to go to Paris. So if you could travel anywhere in the world at Christmas time, bringing your family with you, where would you go?
I know for our family, we just want to get out of the house. We've been quarantining for well over a year because of my wife, her health condition. And so for us, it's just getting out of the house would be nice.
Last year, I said somewhere tropical and got made fun of. So this year, I'm going to say I would go to Italy. We would go to Italy and just eat our way through the entire country.
Wait, why would someone make fun of you for wanting to go somewhere tropical?
Ask Jeff.
Because it's Christmas. Yeah. It's supposed to be cold.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what they said.
I was just thinking it could be any time of the year, but it has to be specifically at Christmas.
I mean, I would
yeah, for Christmas.
Not be
travel
hitting
for
an
Christmas.
island for Christmas, but I go to Italy this year.
Italy has islands.
They do.
I think for us, it's Munich. Germany has these great Christmas markets. Germany is a magical place around Christmas. The Germans take Christmas very seriously.
München.
Hogwarts.
Tannenbaum.
Hogwarts doesn't exist, Josh. You got to pick somewhere real.
No, it's interesting. I was thinking French Riviera, and then she said Italy, and I was like, Mediterranean. I don't know. So,
and then you went with Universal Studios.
No, I meant
that
like
was so sad.
I meant
Harry Potter World.
That was so sad. You're like, French Riviera. Oh yeah, Universal work.
No, I meant like the real Hogwarts. But yes, go ahead.
My answer is Switzerland.
What town?
Everywhere. Because money's no object.
Nice.
All right, well, for me, I'm going to be real lame, but I'm a homebody at Christmas, and so there's no place I would rather be than Chattanooga.
Home for the holidays.
That's neat. That's neat, Brent. Way to go.
Little known fact, Franklin, Tennessee was ranked the third best place to spend Christmas in the world.
Wow. Well, that's fun for whoever made that list. I'd want to go to London. Really, the whole UK. I think I can imagine that they do Christmas big over there, and that would be a lot of fun to see the United Kingdom at Christmas time. All right, well there it is, folks. The ERLC, the very first ERLC crossover megacast.
Thanks, everybody. I wanted to take just a second to tell you about the ERLC internship program. The ERLC is dedicated to seeing each generation engage the culture with the gospel of Jesus Christ. This means cultivating leaders that work in all spheres of culture. Our internship program exists to prepare students and young professionals with a gospel-centered, kingdom-focused perspective on the issues of everyday life. Interns come alongside ERLC staff to equip church leaders to address complex ethical issues in their communities, local churches, and to represent Southern Baptists to the United States government. We offer semester and year-long programs in both of our offices in Nashville, Tennessee and Washington, D.C. Applicants are expected to have completed at least their freshman year of college before beginning their internship, and it's one of the most important things that we do as an organization to equip the next generation to engage the culture without losing the gospel. You can find more about the internship by going to erlc.com/internships. Thanks so much. We have really enjoyed this time. Thanks, Jeff, for putting it all together, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.